We just want to say to the whole Europe, to the whole world, rock and roll never dies!
Hello everyone and welcome to this third episode of Clemovision. As always, I'm delighted to have you here. Thank you so much for all the feedback you gave me on the second episode of the podcast. It seems that you really enjoyed hearing about Belgium at Eurovision, so thank you so much. This means the world to me. If you haven't listened to it yet, I warmly recommend checking out after this one for more Clemovision in your day. Yay! And a huge thank you as well for all the lovely messages you sent me on social media. It means so much to me, and I'm incredibly happy that you enjoy the podcast. I've also been told that it's great to hear a woman talk about Eurovision, and honestly, I couldn't agree more. There aren't that many female Eurovision content creators, it's mostly men. So if you'd like to support women in Eurovision content creation, don't hesitate to follow them. I'm thinking about Eurovision, the podcast, or ESC Factful on TikTok. Please go and follow them. It's really important to support female indie Eurovision content creation. Yay! You may have noticed, but Monday was St. Patrick's Day, Ireland's national holiday. And as any self-respecting immigrant would, I obviously went to celebrate in Dublin, wearing my best green sweater and proudly waving my Irish flag. And what a surprise it was to randomly run into Amy, the singer who will represent Ireland in May at Eurovision Basel with Laika Party. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, she's one of the kindest people ever, an absolute sweetheart. I even got a hug and a picture with her, which you can find on my Instagram at Clemovision, so feel free to follow me. Honestly, meeting her, that totally made my St. Patrick's Day. She was so lovely. Aww. So, today, I thought that to honor this beautiful country that has kindly welcomed me for over 6 months now, I would dedicate an entire episode to Ireland's Eurovision history. I'm sure you already know, but Ireland holds the record of the most Eurovision wins, with no fewer than 7 victories. Sure, Sweden tied this record in 2023, but still. So put on your green sweaters, grab your leprechaun hats and wave your flags. I'm taking you on a journey through time. Yes, it's cliche and I apologize to my Irish friends. Ladies and gentlemen, cue the intro and let's go! Although the contest has existed since 1956, Ireland had to wait nearly 10 years before participating for the first time. What a bunch of slackers, as Belgians were there from the start. Anyway, in 1965, for the first time ever, Ireland decided to enter the Eurovision Song Contest under the supervision of the country's broadcaster. Oh my god, it's gonna be a struggle to pronounce this one, but let's try. Radio Telefís Éireann? Maybe? We'll stick to RTE for this episode. This public service broadcaster was established in November 1925 and began radio broadcasting in January 1926. However, at the time, most Irish people couldn't receive RTE due to its weak signal, so it wasn't until 1961 that RTE launched a television channel alongside its radio broadcasts. Back then, they were far from the multiple stations and channels RTE owns today. There was only one TV channel broadcasting in both English and Irish. 4 years later, in 1965, RTE joined Eurovision for the first time. Butch, a Dublin-born singer, was the first ever Irish representative, performing Walking the Streets in the Rain in Naples, Italy.
Nobody knows I am crying, 'cause I'm walking the streets in the rain. My tears are mixed through the raindrops, and I feel like I can't stand the the pain.
The title definitely sounds Irish enough. After all, we're more used to rain than sunshine here. Moore finished in 6th place out of 18 countries, which was quite a decent result for a debut entry. At least they did better than Belgium, who ended up dead last with a rather humiliating 0 points. Ireland 1, Belgium 0. The following year, Dicky Rock and Come Back to Stay did even better, securing a 4th place finish. And in 1967, Sean Dunphy reached 2nd place with If I Could Choose. This strong start hinted at a bright Eurovision future for Ireland. In 1969, for the first time, a Northern Irish artist represented the country. If you're not familiar with the Irish history, this might seem like a random fact for you, but if you're Irish or if you heard of the Troubles, it might raise some eyebrows. In a very, very, very simplified version, the island of Ireland is split into two. The Republic of Ireland, with Dublin as its capital, officially became a republic in 1949 after declaring independence in 1919 and being recognized as a British Dominion in 1922. Meanwhile, Northern Ireland, a constituent nation of the United Kingdom, was established in 1921 under the Government of Ireland Act of 1920. To put it simply, Northern Ireland was and still is home to two communities. The Unionists, who identify as British and want to remain part of the UK, mostly Protestant, and the Republicans, who support a united Ireland, mostly Catholic. Tensions between these groups escalated into violent conflict starting in 1968, leading to the period known as the Troubles, a conflict that would continue for decades. One of its most infamous events was Bloody Sunday in January 1972, which you may have heard about, especially if you know U2's song of the same name. I'm deeply sorry for all the simplifications. This is, of course, a much more complex conflict than what I have described, but if you're interested in this event, I highly recommend reading the book or watching the series inspired by it, Say Nothing, which does a great job of making the events more accessible. Anyway, in 1969, just 1 year after the Troubles began, Muriel Day, a Northern Irish singer, was chosen to represent the Republic of Ireland in Madrid. She was also the first woman to ever compete for Ireland. Her song, The Wages of Love, was a hit in Ireland, but she only finished in 7th place and didn't achieve much international success. Fun fact, after a Eurovision stint, she moved to Canada and became a laser therapist. Eurovision really can take you anywhere. A year later, Ireland experienced its first Eurovision triumph. In 1970, Dana and her song All Kinds of Everything won the country's first ever victory.
Romances, things of the night, sunshine and holidays, postcards to write, budding trees, autumn leaves, a snowflake or two. All kinds of everything remind me of you.
This meant that for the first time, Dublin hosted Eurovision in 1971 at the Gaiety Theatre in the heart of the city. The event sparked concerns, especially in the UK delegation. Given the political tensions between Ireland and the UK, British officials feared for the safety of their artist. As a precaution, they selected a Northern Irish singer to represent the UK, hoping to ease tensions. However, he received multiple death threats from members of the Irish Republican Army, who accused him of betraying Ireland by competing under the UK flag. The 1970s weren't particularly lucky for Ireland at Eurovision, except in 1977 when Swar Briggs Plus 2 finished third with It's Nice to Be in Love Again. But in 1980, exactly 10 years after their first win, Ireland claimed their second Eurovision victory, thanks to someone very, very famous in the Eurovision world, Johnny Logan. I should clarify though, while he's seen as an Irish singer, Johnny Logan was actually born in Australia. But never mind, if you haven't heard of him, he was a massive star in the 1980s and remained the only artist to have won Eurovision 3 times. Yes, you heard that right, 3 times. That's why he's known as Mr. Eurovision. In 1980, he won for the first time with What's Another Year?
What's another year to someone who's lost?
everything but yours. What's another year to someone who's getting used to being alone? I've been crying such a long time with such a lot of pain.
But one victory wasn't enough. In 1987, he competed again with Hold Me Now, and he won again.
I will always love you. Don't cry, don't say a word, just hold me now. And I will know though we're apart, we'll always be together.
The contest was held in Brussels that year, our one and only time hosting Eurovision. So far. In 1992, he didn't compete himself, but he composed Wine Me for Linda Martin, and guess what? It won too!
And sometimes when I turn around and you're there like today, and I wanna say, why me? I look at you and I get to feeling, why me? I know it's true, but I can't believe it. I keep on wondering why my love shines in your eyes.
So, we now arrive in the 1990s, and buckle up, because this is Ireland's decade, the moment of fame. After their first victory in 1992, success struck again in 1993 with Niamh Kavanagh and In Your Eyes.
Suddenly an open door I never saw before. In your eyes, I see the light leading me home again. It's heaven in your arms, my love. My heart is in your hands. In your eyes, seems so right. I see forever in your smile. This woman is a child again.
Ireland then joined a very exclusive club of countries that had won twice in a row alongside Spain, Luxembourg, or France. The 1993 edition, by the way, was the only Eurovision edition not held in Dublin, but in Millstreet, a small town in County Cork with a population of exactly 1,700 people. But if I have to be honest, in 1993 it was 1,500 people. Yes, you heard that right. It is the smallest town ever to host the contest. Yet, the Green Glens Arena won the bid over Dublin and Galway. That didn't stop the mockery and criticism, with BBC journalist Nicola Witchell even calling the arena a cowshed. Lovely atmosphere. But to be fair, it wasn't completely untrue. RTE had to spend a huge amount of money, around £2 million, to bring everything up to standard for the contest. They had to reinforce the floor to support the weight of the stage and its equipment, extend railway lines to reach Millstreet, and install additional telephone lines. So yes, hosting Eurovision in the countryside is charming, but it comes at a cost. The following year, Eurovision was back in Dublin. Clearly, hosting the contest in the middle of the fields wasn't that appealing. 1994 was an iconic edition, notably because of the first ever televised performance of Riverdance. During the interval act, several dancers performed an Irish dance choreography marking the group's TV debut. A few years later, Riverdance would go on to tour the world. By the end of the night, RTE was breathing a sigh of relief. 2 consecutive Eurovisions to organize was a lot, and they were happy it was finally over. After all, no one had ever won 3 times in a row, right? Well, tough luck, or actually, great luck? Because for the 3rd consecutive year, Ireland won the Eurovision Song Contest, this time with Rock and Roll Kids by Paul Harrington and Charlie McGettigan.
Forevermore, we were the rock and roll kids. Rock and roll was all we did, and listening to those songs on the radio, I was yours and you were mine.
Ireland officially became the country with the most Eurovision victories, reaching a total of 6 wins. Inside the venue, RTE wasn't exactly celebrating. They knew what was coming next. The following year, same story, same location, the contest returned to Dublin, this time at the Point Theatre, not the 3 Arena. Galway and Limerick had submitted bids to host, but they were rejected, and the BBC even suggested co-hosting the contest in Belfast as a joint RTE-BBC production, but RTE declined, insisting they could handle their third victory alone. However, they did make a request to the EBU asking that if Ireland won again, the hosting duties should go to another country. And the EBU quickly agreed. Luckily for RTE, Norway won in 1995, breaking Ireland's winning streak. Until the very next year! Yes, because just 1 year after in Oslo, Ireland won again for the 4th time in 5 years with The Voice by Eimear Quinn.
In the fields when the summer's gone, the dance of the leaves when the autumn winds blow. Now do I sleep throughout all the cold winter long. I am the force that in springtime will grow.
RTE's break from hosting Eurovision had been very short-lived. And so, in 1997, Eurovision was back in Dublin and the Point Theatre once again. 1997 was also a fascinating year because for the first time, the contest openly embraced LGBTQ+ representation. Today, inclusivity is one of Eurovision's core values, but that wasn't necessarily the case in the late 20th century. Icelandic singer Paul Oskar became the first contestant to openly identify as gay at the time of his participation. While LGBTQ+ performances had taken place before, this was a significant moment in Eurovision history. But I won't say more. Spoilers for the next episode, maybe? Stay tuned. After more than 2 hours of performances, Ireland didn't win again. But they came very close. Mark Roberts and his song Mysterious Woman finished second with 157 points. The winners that year, a band you probably know, Katrina and the Waves with Love Shine a Light. After the golden 1990s, things took a turn for the worse for Ireland. In the 2000s, the country struggled to achieve decent results or even to qualify for the final. These poor results pushed Ireland to experiment with new ideas. My Irish friends, you know what's coming. And I have to apologize in advance, but I have to mention it. In 2008, Ireland took a bold gamble and sent to Serbia Dustin the Turkey. You hear that right. A puppet turkey performing Ireland 12 points. Picture it. Eurodance, a colorful stage, absolute chaos. If you haven't seen it, it's worth checking out. It did not qualify for the final, but it left a lasting mark on Eurovision history. Another memorable act was Jedward. The twin brothers represented Ireland in 2011 and 2012, both times reaching the final and becoming Eurovision icons. But in 2014 and 2024, Ireland only managed to qualify for the grand final twice, in 2018 and most recently in 2024 when Bambie and Doomsday finished in 6th place, a remarkable result, their best in 25 years.
You wish you had, you lose.
Guess you'd rather have a star than the moon. I guess I always overestimate you. Who do all the things that you do? I'm down in my doomsday blues.
And that concludes Ireland's Eurovision story. For now. Will Emmy and Laika Party make it to the final and secure Ireland's 8th victory? Well, we'll find out in May.
I hope like I never died and that she's been
One last thought, every single Irish entry at Eurovision has been performed in English, except for Sandy Jones in 1972, who sang in Irish Gaelic. I find it fascinating that Ireland has never really embraced its national language at Eurovision. While countries like France have sent entries in Corsican or Breton, Ireland has never dared to step away from English. However, in recent years, more and more countries have been returning to their native languages, moving away from English. So, could we see an Irish language Eurovision entry in the future? We'll have to wait and see. Thank you all for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, don't forget to like the podcast and leave a review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It really helps me out. And if you want to keep the conversation going, follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Clemovision. I'll see you in 2 weeks for the next episode. Until then, take care of yourselves and take care of each other. Bisous!
Okay, hit the end.